News Radio 610 WTVN.
Last 2 hours, we've watched storms roll across Indiana. In fact, they are 100 miles closer than they were at 6 o'clock, so they'll soon overtake us. In fact, it is now raining in extreme western Ohio. Full forecast, it comes up part of traffic and weather on the 10s. We'll hit that for you here in just 4 minutes. Right now, a good morning to Brian Bouffard. Brian is an attorney. He specializes in the military. Brian, I'm just curious, your thoughts with Mr. Bergdahl coming back to our country legally. What is ahead of him over the next few months?
It's going to be pretty interesting to see. Right now, undoubtedly, he's being thoroughly debriefed. Once that's done, I can only imagine that the law enforcement is going to want to talk again with all the people who were there 5 years ago when he left. This may be, the first time that they're really, they really have the opportunity to conduct a real criminal investigation here. Because when you look at what it appears that he did, what we hear from his platoon mates and people who down there at the time, my sense is he is potentially responsible for at least 3 criminal offenses under the UCMG, each of which in time of war carries a possible death penalty.
Yeah, and there's allegations of deserter, those kinds of things. Play it out, too, because some people think he'll go right to, a court of law in our country, but he's more likely to be in military court of law, and that's way different, isn't it? He's
not going to be tried. If he's tried at all, it will not be in a civilian court. It will be in a court-martial. That really, whether or not they're even going to prosecute him at all in military court-martial is a political question, and what we're hearing out of the White House now is just essentially that Sergeant Bergdahl is a hero, and it may very well be that word will come down from on high that that there will be no prosecution. It's just way too early to tell.
Yeah, as an attorney who specializes in military, when you look at the big picture, do you get a sense, did the president do something illegal in arranging this exchange?
There's talk that he violated the law that was enacted regarding keeping Guantanamo open, that he had to notify Congress. At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that these issues had been more or less discussed in the days and weeks leading up to this. I don't think the president necessarily has done anything illegal. Now, whether or not it was a wise decision, that's a separate question, and I think we all have our opinions about that.
I gotcha. Brian Bouffard, our guest, he's an attorney specializing in the military. So what you know today, Brian, what do you think is the most serious of the allegations against Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl?
Well, everybody's talking about desertion, and certainly in a time of war, that is a very serious offense. And it differs from just regular unauthorized absence or AWOL in that the government would have to prove that Sergeant Bergdahl, when he left, he had the intent to remain away permanently. And, what we're hearing from people who knew him there, he lays down his arms, he walks off the base, he essentially, whether he walked to the Taliban or was just captured pretty quickly thereafter, it certainly suggests that he had that intent to remain away permanently. Whether they could convict him or not is a different question than whether or not they could charge him in good faith, and I think they absolutely could.
Yeah, and if you were his defense attorney, what do you think would be the main emphasis of defending him, not only in court but to the American people?
My primary concern would be defending him in court. I'm sympathetic to what the American people think, but if he's my client, he's going to get the best defense that I can muster in court. And the first thing I would start doing is well before court, and that is, I'd be talking with the government about an immunity agreement. He's going to be debriefed. He surely in 5 years has gleaned information that we would want to know. If I felt like my client had maybe committed some misconduct earlier on, I would want to condition those talks on him not being prosecuted for anything that he's done. That's kind of where I would start, and then after that, you just have to go where the evidence leads you.
Certainly understand that, and I appreciate the insight very much. Brian Bouffard, he's an attorney specializing in the military, and that is the talk about issue today. What will be next for one Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl? All right, we're at 8:10. Let's get you traffic.